Hey guys, Rick here. How are all my hair comrades today? Listen, I want to take a minute to say a big thank you, to express my gratitude to all the subscribers to The High Level Man, all the likes, the comments that you have made. I can't tell you, it has been the joy of my life and has been so very, very encouraging. I hear when you guys have contacted me for the very first time, it usually works this way. I'll get a comment on the channel, then you'll send an email, and then once I get an email from you, then I'll send you my cell number and we can chat that way, schedule a consultation, and start getting you squared away to go forward with all of this. But the main element of communication to me is one that is based out of a good bit of anxiety and worry, and rightly so. I get that, absolutely. I was there. I felt all of those emotions. I felt all of the anxiety and the fear even, and all of the what will people think stuff, you know, all of it. And remember, I was going from a shaved head to hair practically overnight. I had let my bio hair grow out in the sides of my natural hair long enough to where it would accommodate blending and cutting it in. And yeah, so I get all of that. So to that, I would like to say this. If I could go back, I'd probably say to myself, Rick, you need to step back, take a breath, because this is all going to be fine. This is a big thing to you, but it's not so much to everybody else. And I say that confidently because, as hard as this is to believe, guys, if you've seen my before and after pictures, it's like about as dramatic as it gets. Now, understand, in before pictures, I'm looking pretty forlorn, you know, and sad and down in the dumps. But I could not believe when I first stepped out with hair on my head, the people that didn't notice. How is that possible? And the answer lies in this, is that it looked so good and so natural that people, when they saw me, would think something is different about him, but they couldn't figure out what it was because the hair didn't give itself away. And I would even point it out. One guy I recall, whom I would see every week, I had to tell him, what do you think about the hair? He said, well, I mean, it's an odd question to ask a guy, right? He said, well, it looks good. I said, well, you remember I'm bald, right? He said, what? You are bald. It was a funny thing. And so when it works and when it's right, then you'll be surprised at how many people just don't think anything about it, don't mention it at all. So very interesting. Of course, those closest to you are probably going to do that. But so I have a guy coming, schedule an appointment. His hair is fine, not super thick, and he's been able to get by with, you know, the kind of sprinkle the stuff on the top of your head, and it's worked well for him. I did that for as long as I could, longer than I should have actually, because it started to look worse than what I really thought. But anyway, it's done, it looks fine. But he wants to get in the game before it does become obvious. And this, if I had a number one, the most important element about custom fitting a hair system to someone, it would probably be this: density. Of course, the color is important, but the color is a little bit forgiving whenever it's blended correctly. You can kind of get by with, as I do. You'll notice this today. This is a pretty dark system, but all the dark hair on my head is dark. My hair on the top right here is dark. So honestly, my wife, who's my biggest critic and biggest encourager about it all, said even though it looks like it's darker than you should be wearing, it really does match the top of your bio hair. Because if I had hair, natural hair, I'd have this gray beard, gray temples, and by the time it got up here, it'd be dark. Because the little bit of hair that I have up there is still dark. So admittedly, I like the grayer, the percentage of 60% gray better, But anyway, I like to do things different. But back to the original question. I'm kind of going down a bunny trail there. Density. If the system you're wearing is way thicker than what your bio hair is, it makes it hard for me to get that blend right. It can be done, but it still doesn't look as good as it does when the density is correct. The guy that I mentioned who has very fine blonde hair, actually, his hair, he won't be able to handle an HD111, M101V. It's too much hair. It's too thick. And so I have advised that he order the XT model because it is much less dense. And I promised him that I can put this on your head and you'll leave with complete coverage on the top of your head, but it's not going to look like a big hunk of hair on your head. Now, if I tried to cut down an HD111, we discussed it. I might could finally get it there, but it's not going to look as good as the XT. And I'm thinking about it as I speak of what all I could do, thin it out, on and on and on, and I could probably make it work, but still the other choice, the XT, is a better choice for him. So if you're contemplating doing this, understand what bio have your hair. Understand you're going to have to let that grow out some. I need about an inch of hair to be able to begin blending and cutting it in and all of that to make it look as natural as possible. And right at the first, you probably want to choose a haircut on the system to cut it in the most natural looking way possible. And so your question might be, well, why wouldn't you want to do that all the time? Well, you get into different haircuts then, like disconnected cuts and all of that, where it doesn't blend on the sides. But it's very obvious where the hair is. It's very obvious where the system is. And so right out of the bat, everybody's going to say, well, I can see where that is. But after you've been wearing it as long as I do, it looks just like a guy that I put that disconnected haircut on that has a lot of hair, that's not bald at all. It's just a hunk of hair on his head. You get what I'm saying? But with the system, when you're wanting it to blend, you don't want anyone to notice any of that. I hope that makes sense. But so density is super, super important. I don't know, maybe I should say color and density are super important, but like I said, I can make the color if it's not exact. I can still blend and still pull that off and make that work. But boy howdy, when it's a density issue, it makes it really hard. And even at my best effort, if that bio hair is really thin, it's like, it's always kind of that, it's almost there. Maybe no one else could see it, but if I can, then I think it could be better. Yeah, for sure. Another way to go about that is to do a fade. Get rid of most of your bio hair on the sides. Just zip it all off and let that system come down in over or blend in with the little bit left at the top, and that would help as well. So anyway, hey, it's a great day here in Central Texas. It's still burning, blistering hot, upper 90s. Yeah, and I think we're about to get a break on some of that, but we're sweating it out pretty much still. Looking forward to fall. 1st of October, my wife and I are hooking that travel trailer up, and we're pulling that 40-footer to Branson to stay at an RV park right on the lake, and we stay for 2 weeks, and it's a look forward to. We're counting the days at this point. And so I'll be having hair the whole time. I'll probably have to reinstall it one time while we're there. And but we're looking forward to that. So I hope you're all doing great. I am here in the hair replacement studio that I have really enjoyed. And I've had lots of you guys to show up. I just don't know what to say exactly. I've had people fly from other states. I've had people come from Mexico. It's just like from all over. And I think that when they leave, they are very, very happy. And they tell me they use words like this: life-changing, I had one guy, this was funny, said, I've had 3 dates since I've been there. So what does that tell you about his confidence, right? So anyway, it's all good. And if you're hesitant and you're, it's a nail biter, you know, oh my gosh, and you get worked up about it, take a big old breath, relax. Rick here's telling you, I've been there, I've done it all, and it's not nearly that bad. It'll be just fine. Just trust me on that, and let's rock it. Talk to you guys later. Bye now.